Welcome to Blush Podcast, hosted by the tantalizing Kelly and Penny. Grab your favorite drink and get ready to dive into the steamy world of books, from sizzling romance novels to sultry tales. We are here to explore the stories that make our hearts race and our imaginations run wild. So sit back, relax, and let's get lost in whatever crazy shit these two come up with.
I want to say Kelly in a very fantasy way.
Oh.
Kelly.
That's fantasy? Is like
That
a
is fantasy.
lyrical, like,
Kelly. No, you do your style of fantasy.
I did.
That was it?
Oh, my fantasy is a lot darker. I like to have fantasy. Hey.
Mm-hmm. I would take that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Kelly, let's talk about wine.
Yes! Let's talk about, okay.
It isn't really wine. It's like...
No, it's champagne. I bought you champagne.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, it is Duty France.
Mm-hmm.
The France. Luc Belair Rare Lux.
Lux.
Mm-hmm. Does it say, it does say things. Wait.
It does say.
It says things.
It does say things. I'm so glad it says something.
Shut your face. Our exquisite and decadent Belair Luc strikes a perfect balance, refreshing aromas of honeysuckle, peach, and apricot, blend with a subtle sweetness, while remaining light and crisp. Serve it well chilled or even with ice as an aperitif
An aperitif?
or alongside nearly any cuisine.
Nearly
Any cuisine.
Not.
Ooh, could you imagine this like poured down like?
You could have body showered this stuff.
Oh, for sure. But
Like right through the cleavage.
yeah, but I'm just thinking about like all up in your business.
No, like if somebody's mouth is right here and you just.
Yeah, but could you imagine
Right.
pouring this all over your junk and then have somebody lap it up?
I mean, I could now.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a bottle before this though. Where's that one? Oh,
We
that's
did.
right there.
It
Okay.
was good.
This is great. This is like actual champagne from France. All right, so I wanted to get the champagne because
Yeah, it's our first one back.
first one back, even though it's not the first one airing, this was our first recording back. But I also got from a local Michigan winery, which we love, El Mavi, Sex. Felt it was appropriate.
I think we should call it fuck
Rosé.
instead. But wouldn't that sound so much better?
Yeah, like fuck,
Yeah.
like our Raleigh fucks. But I don't know if you could sell that to the masses. Soft red berry aromas, fresh flesh, sassy. Tempted by the fruit. I love it. Soft red berry. Yeah, so this is a brut rosé that we
It was
had.
good.
Cuvée close method sparkling wine.
I know, we can't really taste test it now.
So this was El Mavi's. That was good though.
We finished that off pretty quick.
Oh, we did real quick. And now we're on the real stuff.
Yeah. Let's talk about, okay, let's do the taste test. We should do it at the same time.
All right, let's
Okay, ready?
Oh, you're supposed to smell.
Mm.
I don't know if you have to do that with champagne though. Like smell.
Oh, you do?
Because champagne smells like champagne.
Ooh. Oh, this is different. This sounds really weird, but it gets like right by your teeth.
Right behind the front teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And not,
Right on the tip of the tongue.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
And like inside, well, where the teeth are, not where the gums are, but like the teeth.
Right on the insides.
It's like sweet.
It hits you all on the inner walls.
I could do that.
It is. That's delightful.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to think of a fantasy character
Ooh.
that this reminded you of, who would it remind you of?
Okay, you go first.
Poppy.
Oh, Poppy. But she's murderous.
I would agree with that. This is murderous.
It's sweet on the surface and then it like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a brat.
good. Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think someone else from fantasy. Aelin from Throne of Glass. She's the main character.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I can see that.
she also she's murder. She's an assassin.
But she's also sweet on
But
the
she's
outside.
very sweet on the outside.
Mhm.
And people
Jailers on the
take
inside.
her, yes, like take her for granted because they think because she's so gorgeous and whatever.
And
then,
bubbly.
and then she's like, no, I'll fucking kill you. Pretty much.
Well, we have a really exciting guest today.
Mhm.
Yeah, S.E. Zell, we're meeting with today. Meeting with, it sounds so professional.
I know.
We're talking with today about her book and about all the other books that she's written.
Mhm.
She's not only an author, but she's also a narrator. Yeah. And yeah, we're going to jump right in with her. And yeah, we're not going to hold you hostage and listen to us ramble on. But yeah.
Enjoy. We're gonna
And here
go
she
right
is.
into it. Yeah.
I think before we start this interview, you should pop champagne.
Oh, you want me to pop that one?
Should I try it?
It's up to you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
All right. It's gonna pop, so if you don't like loud noises, don't
Oh,
listen
good.
right now. Okay.
Oh,
Faster than I thought.
That's what she said.
unfortunately, yes.
It happens a lot.
Okay. Hooray! We are here with S.E. Zell, and she is an author and a narrator. And
She's both.
She's both.
I am.
And we're going to talk about Ransom and Ruin and a bunch of other books that she's written. And they're all super fun, super great. A lot of, it's mostly fantasy. Do you do any that aren't fantasy?
I have a rom-com in the works, but everything else pretty much is fantasy or fantasy
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
Fantasy's a big thing right now.
Mhm.
That's a good place to be.
And her books are very like adventurous. There's some shady dealings and manipulation. Please say manipulation.
Oh, yes.
Manipulation.
We follow some crime
Mhm.
crime families.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So we're here to talk about all things fun with author and narrator tidbits.
Yeah, it's like a 2-in-1.
Mhm.
This is special. Special edition.
It's like a threesome, except
It is. Well, it is kind of some.
Except I'm everything you need all at once.
yes.
Yeah.
So S.E. Zell, author name, but you also go by Lainey, correct?
So can we call you Lainey throughout this interview?
Yes, you can call me Lainey.
Okay. So, are you ready to get going?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's jump in.
Let's start with Ransom and Ruin. Tell us about that book and the series in general.
Okay, Ransom and Ruin was my first book. It was, I guess I started writing it at a time before morally gray had been kind of coined as a term, and I was really sick of reading about like those really pure and righteous, self-righteous heroes, and I wanted characters who were questionable. And so I was like, well, what if the main characters were all like the head of like the king of thieves? Like, what if we went from that perspective? So I just kind of started running with it and ended up creating this world where there's three siblings. We have Adric, king of thieves, his twin brother Adrian, who's his second in command, and then we have their younger sister Ashton, who is their enforcer and an assassin. And um, they hatch this plot because their people are being um, killed off. So they decide to kidnap the king's son, the crown prince, and ransom him for information. And of course, everything goes wrong. And of course, there's an undercurrent of romance, but for all of my romanticy girlies out there, this is a slow burn. But each book in the series, it's a trilogy, and I'm finishing up the third one now. Each book gets successively spicier.
There's a lot of tension, and then also like it kind of gave off some like Robin Hood vibes. Like these are
A little bit.
Yeah, like not totally, but it was these are morally gray characters, but they also are like rebelling and doing all these terrible things to help
Yeah.
the greater good and like
Right.
help the people that are in like dire straits or whatever.
That.
Right. Because the
I
king is very corrupt, so they look out for the common people and the innocent people.
I do have a side question. So
Okay.
for fantasy writers, how does that go? It's like creating a whole new world
Yeah.
compared to like when I don't know, like other romantasy writers that kind of go into the world that we have right now, but in fantasy you have to create something that's completely off script and different. How did in your mind, like I'm sure you picture it in your mind, but then put it on paper, how does that work for you?
So, like, creating your own world also comes with its own pitfalls because it has to feel real to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, there's an author called N.K. Jemisin. She's brilliant, and she wrote one of my favorite trilogies of all time, which is the Broken Earth trilogy. And I took a class from her on world building, and she approaches it in a really scientific manner. And she's very, very meticulous about how she does it. And it shows, I mean, she's won all kinds of awards for her fantasy. So, like, if you haven't read her books, go read them. They're incredible. So when I was building Jessame, the world that Ransom and Ruin and Memory and Mutiny take place in, I actually did it kind of backwards because I took that class after I started writing it. And I had this image in my head. They start in this Thieves City. It's this mysterious place, kind of like if you've ever seen like Pirates of the Caribbean, where they go to Tortuga and it's just like lawless and pirates and the criminals have control of everything. That's what it felt like. But then there's this underlying mystery of like, well, why is it that way? And then as the book unfolds and I built out the world, you realize like this king has slowly been conquering the entire continent. And there's unrest in these satellite cities and nations, and it becomes, troublesome to hold on to all of these places that really don't want you there. And that added itself to the world and created lots of fun
Yeah.
political tension.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You fantasy writers are on a whole other level than the rest of us human beings. Like I don't understand at all.
Like how you put all of the stuff together.
Yes, like a different level.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question, of course.
Okay.
Is there anything that like inspires you to write this book?
Oh my gosh, so many. Like, I was the kid that was sitting in the corner at recess reading a book.
Aww.
I read everything I could get my hands on, 99% of which was fantasy. All of those things like fed into what I view fantasy as. And like I'm sitting in front of, I have books on books on books. I have enough books in my house to be qualified as a library. And I'm looking at these books and I'm like, yep, that's one that influenced me. Yep, that's one. We'd be here all night if I had to name
Wait a
the
minute. How do
influences.
you? What qualifies as a library? What is the number?
There is a number.
Yeah.
There is
It's
a
like-
number.
What is it?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like over
remember.
1,000 books.
Okay, so going back to like all of those books, who inspired you? Who? Sure, books are sentient. It's fine.
Got it.
All of the books that inspired you, etc. How do you create your characters? Is it like inspiration from other things you've read, or is it from other things, or an amalgamation?
The
Oh,
first
she's drunk. Look at you. Kelly comes out with all her fancy words and she's been drinking. Okay, I'm ready for this. Okay.
Well, the first character was Adric, my King of Thieves. I don't know, for some reason, he just kind of sprung fully formed. In my head, I had this image of him, like, chapter one opens with him kind of sprawled sideways in a chair, like, exhausted and just, like, being very, like, oh, God, what a long day. And, like, that image kind of popped in my head, and I was like, okay, what kind of person sits like that? And what kind of person, like, I don't know. He just kind of sprung fully formed into my head. And then as more characters entered the scene, I was like, okay, well, obviously his twin is going to be identical, but the exact opposite. And so they're identical twins, but Adrian is very compassionate. He's very empathetic. And Adric is like, I don't give two shits what you want. What I say goes. He leads through strength and fear, whereas Adrian more leads through love. And they're a really good balance for each other. And then
Yes.
Ashton, of course, is like,
I love
I
her.
don't know. She's just,
She's
she's
awesome.
full of rage. She's full of rage.
I love that. So I'm gonna shift the narrative a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna shift the narrative a little bit. And
Okay.
I want you to tell us a little bit how it was narrating your own book.
Oh, it's, we are our own worst critics. So I'm really proud of Ransom and Ruin, and I think it's a great book. And
Yeah, you should be
also,
proud.
and also, reading through it, I wanted to rip it apart.
No!
Like saying the words out loud, I was like, what in God's name was I thinking? This is a nightmare. But that being said, I got to voice characters that, had always lived in my head. So as we're kind of, working through the edits on that and making it cohesive into a real audiobook, it's very strange to hear it come to life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet.
So that there's a little bit of a follow-up to that. Like, now that you've done this for this book, do you think you would want to continue to narrate your own books or have someone else do it?
I mean, it comes down to a money thing.
Yeah, I can understand.
I'm a lot cheaper than my friends are.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of your narrating voice, please?
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Your best narrating voice. Can you be like, your overalls look really sexy on you?
Okay. Here's a bit of chapter 1 from Echoes of Blood and
She's
Bone.
like, forget it.
No, she's
Yeah,
like,
let's do it.
this book is really cool too.
Echoes of Blood and Bone is my spicy romantasy. So if you're looking for the spice off the bat, this book has dream sex. It's got multiple partners in the same scene. It's got, all kinds of fun stuff going on because you can do anything when you can travel from dream to dream. I'll read a couple paragraphs.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, I am fully listening. Your best narrator voice. Like, this is like, you'll get $1 million if you win this kind of voice.
Boy, okay.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
All right. Chapter 1, Mina. New York City, present day. Did you feel that? The delicate hairs on my arms stood on end, but my best friend, Elise, seemed unbothered as she wiped at the fake blood on her cleavage. If it weren't for the synthetic gore covering her from head to toe, she would be a knockout in her sequin diva dress. We had just finished our shift at the public library's haunted house, and were gingerly wiping gobs of red dyed corn syrup off our hair and bodies in the bathroom. I think you're getting a little too into the Halloween spirit, hun.
That's it. Keep going.
You'll just have to read it.
Yeah, I love your accent for Elise. That's great. That's especially like as it goes on. Elise has a really fun role in that story.
Oh yes.
And I could just see that voice, like the Valley Girl voice. Like,
That's fun. I love that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of take a little more of a turn here.
Okay,
And
I'm ready.
I want to know what inspired you to be an author.
Oh man.
No pressure.
Yeah. I think I've always sort of like written little things, and storytelling has always been a part of my life. My dad used to instead of reading us books, he would make up bedtime stories on the spot when we were kids.
That.
Yeah, and they would always be like these two little monsters, Quasha and Franklin, and and their and their adventures and like the silly antics that they had, and so that it really goes back to that. But I don't think I really. So when I was in college, I actually dropped out in 2015. I ended up going back 3 years later, but in the time that I took off, that's when Ransom and Ruin started. That's when the urge to get all the little stories that I would make up in my head out onto the page. And I started writing, and I kept writing, and the story just kept unfolding. And I was like, I had to know what happened next. And when I finished it for the first time, I was like, I don't think I've ever finished a story. Like, it was the story that had to be told. And then I finished it, but it was enough of a, like, it left it open for book two. And so then I had to,
Yeah, that,
you know,
yes. It left it open for book two. I'm sorry. That was just a very big, like, my. Isn't
sorry,
just leave
not
it open
sorry,
for book
Cal.
two? It's a giant cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
gotta get people to come back and read the next
Right,
one.
exactly. Yep.
Uh,
But you can have like half of a cliffhanger. You don't have to have like the
if you
the
haven't
whole
read
like
Echoes,
falling off of the cliff.
Damn.
I'll-
I know. Ladies not nice. Okay.
I'm not. I'm really not. I see all of my books have cliffhangers, and
Yeah.
I am not apologetic about it. I am working on a collaboration with,
Ooh.
I don't know if you know Lindsay B. North. She's a Norwegian author. She's a good friend of mine. And she released a book called Disappearing to Nowhere that is a fantastic romantasy, and it is based in Norwegian folklore, and she's a phenomenal
Cool.
author. And we're working on co-authoring a romantasy that is very, very dark and sapphic, and has all kinds of really deep world building.
Wow, that's awesome.
And none of it is safe. None of it is safe. You're safe
All right.
nowhere.
Yeah,
Hold
it's
on.
some advice you would give to someone who is considering to publish their first book.
If you're considering publishing your first book, one, hire an editor. It is worth the money.
Yes, yes.
like,
Please
no-
hire an editor.
No matter how good of a writer you are, you still need an editor. And honestly, like, if you are an independent published author, there's a lot that you need after the book is done. It is a lot of work. If it comes down to funding, because all of this stuff costs money, like, find people that you can do a barter with for their services.
Yeah, that's such a good idea. Kind of like team up with other authors to kind of just go through your book and edit it a little. That's a really
Absolutely.
good idea. I love that. We get to go into Kelly's favorite part, though.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is like her favorite moment.
It is my favorite. We've got the blush questions now. So these are the naughty
Let's do it. Let's jump in.
So excited.
Do you want to ask the first? I guess because I asked a couple in a row.
Yeah.
I asked a lot. I'm so sorry. I like to bombard you with questions.
All right, blush questions.
Hit me.
Have you ever been caught?
And
No, I like
midnight.
that.
This is my
Have I ever
midnight.
been?
Caught having sex.
Oh, hell no.
No,
Nope.
never,
No.
ever, ever,
Mm-mm.
ever.
You're way too
Nope,
careful.
not ever. Yeah, I'm so careful.
Wow. I'm impressed. So
Yeah.
no public places, no like maybe we'll get caught moments.
I
Or,
never
like,
said no
a
public
roommate.
places. I just said.
Oh.
Oh, Bill is in.
She's never been caught.
Yeah, it took until I was in my late 20s for me to actually have sex in a bed. So we'll just put it that way.
Sex in a bed to like 20s?
Yeah.
Go you.
Damn, lady.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. You didn't have like anybody's like roommates wandering in or anything?
No.
No one's ever heard you have sex. Oh,
Oh,
heard
I'm
you?
sure people have heard it.
Yeah.
That counts. I feel like that
No,
counts.
that doesn't count unless they knocked on the door
We'll
and are
put that
like,
in for her having sex. Okay, I have your next blush. Oh my gosh, I'm
Do you?
drinking. Tell us about your first kiss.
My first kiss. I was in high school, and I was part of a
If you say theater group, I'm gonna die.
close. I was part of a small chamber choir. Yes. So there were 20 of us in the choir, and it was like this really hard to get into thing. And so I had like waited to get into this thing for years. And it was I got in my sophomore year, but I had wanted to be in this choir since I was a kid. And every fall we had our retreat at somebody's house. And so we would all have a big co-ed sleepover and, teenagers co-ed sleepover. And we were all playing games. So we had to, I had to answer a question and I really didn't want to answer it. So they were like, okay, well then you chose dare by default. And I was like, oh God. And they were like, all right,
Yeah.
you have to kiss the cutest boy in here. And I was like, what?
Were you like, okay, I'm not upset about it.
Back.
Yeah, but but luckily the guy who I thought was the cutest in the, choir was actually a really good friend of mine. So I was like, I just kind of locked eyes with him and I was like, help. And he was like, I got you. And so I kissed
Yeah,
his
like,
friend.
oh, I get to make out with a girl. Ooh, sad.
Like,
Yeah.
girl.
And we're still friends. So
Aw.
Your first kiss. That's fun.
yeah, we never dated or anything because I was not interested in him like that.
All right. Are you ready for your next one? All right.
Okay.
Kelly, last question.
What's your favorite book trope and your least favorite?
Oh, least favorite is easy. Pregnancy trope.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like it either.
Some
I don't like
people
when
can
they
make it
trick
work,
them.
but for the most part, if I know that there's a preg trope in it, I'm not going to read it. My favorite trope? Probably a tie.
I have a tie too. I'm curious what yours is. What's your tie?
I really, really, really like the one bed trope.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm such a sucker for that. And then also, I want to say, I really like a friends to lovers. Like, when it's really obvious that they've been attracted to each other for a long time and they've been fighting it, and then finally they're both like, you know what? Fuck it. And they
Dude,
just go for it.
I guarantee that Kelly's trope is a lot worse than that. 100%.
Like, the fuck it line, though, is the best.
Yes,
You
when they
know?
say fuck
When
it.
they just say fuck
Oh,
it, and then they just
so
go
good.
at it. It's the best.
Even when a guy says fuck, I'm like, see, I think it's more of like a fuck.
Oh, that's good, too.
Yeah, like, damn it. Fuck it all. Never mind.
Yeah.
had some drinks.
What's your favorite and least favorite trope?
Okay, miscommunication is my least favorite.
I
fucking hate it, and she
Hate it.
knows that. Yep. My favorite trope.
First one that comes to my mind.
What?
Age gap.
Age. Duh. Penny cannot date someone who's like not
No, it's
significantly older than her. She
What is yours?
age gap 100%.
Okay, trope. Go. First thing.
It's got to be enemies to lovers.
Really?
It's a good
That's
one.
boring.
I know, but I can't think of anything else right now. What are some other tropes besides the one bed? I love the one bed.
Okay, ready? What's your least favorite trope? Ready, set, go.
Miscommunication. I already said that.
Okay, never mind. Mine is, I think that like the nice guy, like when they're too nice.
Like a cinnamon roll.
yeah, a cinnamon
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm out.
I guess a shadow daddy, is that a trope?
What's a shadow daddy?
How do you not know that, Penny?
Have you never
do
met
know
a
it.
shadow daddy? Oh
She
my
knows.
gosh.
She
What
knows
is
that
it?
You
she
need
just,
to educate her.
She does. She just doesn't know that's the name of
What's
what
the
is
shadow daddy? It sounds really good.
It's like almost every dude in every book that we read.
So I really like shadow daddy.
Yeah, not morally gray, but morally black.
So I'm in.
Yes. And all the
It's the
like,
guys who
touch
can
her
control darkness and shadows.
Yeah.
And
and like touch her and die and like all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm in.
I
Yeah,
love a
Maybe
good
that's
toucher
my
and
new
die.
trope.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Yes.
Maybe that's my favorite is touch her and die.
Yeah, the
Because I
protective.
love the murder. Well, I mean protective fine, but I like the murdering.
Yeah. I was just processing. No, the protector part is definitely.
Yeah, it's not
Up
as
there.
much as the protector, it's the violence and death and blood that I like.
Yeah.
Which
I think.
know.
Yeah. No, I know that. Yeah. I can see that.
And so like touch
Ellie
her
is a
or him.
ghoul.
Yes.
Touch her or him. She's the only inclusive here.
I am, but I like Ashton in your book, like, you know, like she's like She'll go at it. She kills a lot of people.
Good for
Oh
her.
yeah, Ashton really she's got a reputation as the Red Lady. She's a legend, like an urban legend in her city. And a cautionary tale. People are like, "Oh, you better behave, otherwise the Red Lady will get you." And she leaves a blood red kiss on her victims' foreheads.
It's like
Yeah.
Kelly. Did you just like copy and paste?
It was before she met me.
I met Kelly.
It's like you imagined her and it just came to life. That's so funny.
Lady
It
fabricated
was like I was
me.
channeling Kelly. before I even-
Perfect.
Yeah.
Before we even-
But Ashton is definitely, she's kind of a product of my own internal rage. When I was initially writing this, there was a
Yeah.
lot going on in my life, and I had to be nice, and I had to be good, and I had to behave. And I was like, so this character is just gonna fuck everybody up.
Yeah.
And the Crown Prince is like, you're super hot, but you're really scary. And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I like it.
She's like, I sure am.
Yep.
That's awesome. Deal with it. She's rad. I love her.
Dang.
And she's a shapeshifter, which I love too. So she can look like anyone.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Lady, I am so happy that you got to talk to us and
Yeah.
let us like completely trample you with questions. So thank you.
I'm so
And-
happy to finally meet you, Penny.
I'm happy to meet you, Lady. This is so fun. Thank you, Lady, so much. Like you're amazing. I'm so glad I got the chance to talk to you.
I love her,
Likewise.
obviously.
Thank you for
This-
having me.
This was an honor, truly. Thank you so much, Lady, for taking the time out of your day to do this. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, this was
Thank
great.
you so
I mean,
much. And have a great
Awesome.
night, ladies.
Okay, so we'll let you go. Have a great night. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Yes.
Of course, anytime. Good night, ladies.
Good night.
That was awesome. Thank you, Lainey. We love you. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had some champagne.
Yeah. We had a great time.
Catch us next time.
On a train like this.
We had a lot. All right.
Anyway, next time.
Wait,
Come see us next time.
I'm going to do Kelly's voice.
Oh my God.
Okay, ready? Catch us next time on Blush Podcast. Cheers.
I can't do
Yeah, do me. I want to see it.
Yay! Catch us next time.
You are an asshole.
What? You're super fun and bubbly.
That is like, it's fine. I'll take it. Whatever.
You're happy. I'm not.